Moncion, over to you. Thank you, Chair, and welcome to the committee. Now, back on December 6th, you were talking about Bill C-13 when you were before the House Committee, the Official Languages Committee. And at that point, you talked about an official languages policy center which would integrate parts 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the OLA. Could you say a little bit more about those components? Certainly. And I could perhaps follow up by writing with some more details. This center will play a role as the Treasury Board expands its own role. So we'll be putting the center together, getting it going. It's just one of many measures that we will be resorting to after the modernization as we seek to grow into our new role. All right, you have actually segued very nicely into my next question, which is about the role of a central agency. Based on how C-13 has been amended in the other place to date, the central agency role will be confined entirely to the Treasury Board. Of course. Could you comment on this? Well, we should note that we do want to continue working with Canadian heritage. And of course, the Treasury Board will continue carrying out evaluations and monitoring. Having said that, the Treasury Board has never managed grants. We've never had that sort of responsibility before. So we will want to continue working with Canadian heritage. Having said that, our role will be expanded. We will see how the cookie crumbles over the next few weeks. But this is something that we are looking at. We do want the Treasury Board to have an expanded role, but we want Canadian heritage to retain a role as well. For example, a role in the implementation of positive measures. I hope that that answers your question. Certainly, yes. Thank you. I have a few questions here. Now, in the statistics, we see that there is a pool of bilingual public servants out there. And we could look at how the number of bilingual positions has remained stable, but the number of bilingual employees has reduced very slightly. It's down by 2% compared to 2020. How would you explain this reduction in bilingual employees within the federal public service? I'm sorry. I was wondering if you could just repeat the last part of the question. Well, yes, in the annual report, the TBS annual report, there are statistics mentioned where it says the proportion of bilingual positions remains stable, but the pool of bilingual employees has decreased slightly, 41% compared with 2020, 43%. So how would you explain this reduction? Because it seems like something that would be gradual, but could have an effect over the long term. Thank you for that question. I'll start off, and then my colleagues can follow up. We are working to ensure there is a sufficiently large pool of federal public servants. We have language training in place as well. Perhaps this decline is partly due to simple turnover. Experienced bilingual staff retiring and being replaced by young people who might need some more training. So that factor might play a role. It could also be part of a demographic change within the Canadian population. In our view, language training is absolutely essential, and that is why we are in the process of developing a new language training framework for federal public servants. This will allow us to ensure we have the tools we need to train our employees and have the capacity to fill all positions. I think it's important to consider how we are taking every opportunity to recruit and retain employees who are able to work in both official languages. We are also in the middle of establishing opportunities to recruit people able to work in both official languages. This can be aligned with our immigration policy, for example. We are looking at every possible opportunity to bring people into the federal public service. So it's a whole endeavor. And we are seeking to really boost that percentage, the percentage of public servants able to work in both official languages. And Mireille brought this up, but training, second language training, is something we will be focusing on heavily over the next few years. If I may, Chair, just to follow up on that. This is a 2021 report, so it comes smack dab in the middle of the pandemic. It was very difficult to assess employees' language skills during that time, so that could also account for the decline.